Hey guys, welcome back to After Hours with me, Jimmy Thistle. Episode 3 of the new year, I think. So, episode 53. Yeah. Today we've got Ashley or Ash. Ash is she's got a great Instagram account. She really, yeah, she's 5 months now, I think, sober. So still very, very early days. I saw Ash's account and she's just doing amazing things, and encouraging young people. Ash is, I think, 34, maybe 33. But just encouraging young people to go, and young mums as well. She's a young mum, to just kind of go, what is alcohol serving you? What is it doing for you in your life? Wasn't serving her anything, through kind of lockdown and COVID. She really did kind of notice that her drinking kind of was just being silly, like binging, getting in fights with people. But Ashley, to begin with, she's kind of used the word off the rails, but I guess what she was doing was just what kind of everyone really does, asking older people to go in and get alcohol, but putting herself in vulnerable positions, that time when she was walking to her boyfriend's and really fell, not in a canal, but fell in a kind of culvert or something that was full of water. And, it could have turned out really nasty. But she managed to kind of climb up the embankment and make her way to her boyfriend's house. But it's just dangerous things like that, from an early age, when you're not telling your parents where you're going, or you're pretending you're sleeping over at a friend's house and they're doing the same thing, and then you're all just getting drunk in a field. It seems like fun at the time, but so many people just get into some scary situations. And, luckily Ash came through it all and, didn't get into any really sticky situations. But at 17 to 19, she lived on her own with some housemates, but away from her parents' family home, and really just kind of did go off the rails. Drinking became kind of her kind of persona. Her house became the kind of party house with all people coming round. Not really kind of worrying too much about work and a career at that age, but just really partying. And almost became kind of a daily thing at that age, where they would just have like vodka in the house and get home from work or whatever and just crack it open and have a few drinks. And but again, people are young, and that's kind of what they do, and it just kind of stems from there. So Ash did think of herself as one of the I think it was the Lambrini girls party, just want to have fun or something like that. And she thought of herself as being one of them. So Ash has got a great story, a real kind of, red flaggy type story that is a good warning for young people and old people alike. So sit back, listen for the similarities and not the differences, guys, and I'll see you at the end. Ash, welcome to After Hours. How are you
Hi
today?
Jimmy, I'm so good, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I'm like fangirling at the moment because I've followed your pod for some time, so I'm really excited. So thanks for having me.
Oh well, thank you. That means a lot to kind of, I've been doing it nearly a year now, and it was just kind of one of those things that I've always wanted to do, and I thought,
Yeah,
there's no time like the present, and it has grown quite a bit. I mean, I'm still kind of, small compared to the likes of like Sober Dave and all that, but
yeah,
I just love doing it, and I want to kind of. I love having people like yourself on, because, like we were talking about before, you don't have to be, the worst of the worst and rock bottom and
sure,
all that to know that alcohol is having a negative impact on your life.
definitely.
So, if you want to, let's just start up then. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and how your childhood was, and when you had your first
Yeah,
drink?
sure. So I'm Ashley and I'm 34. Currently living in Cheltenham in Gloucestershire. I grew up in Tewkesbury, which is probably 20 minutes down the road. It's a small little market town.
Hmm.
Childhood, oh, it was very mixed. My parents were teenage parents, so it was a bit chaotic, and they got divorced when I was about 5. Um, and it was quite traumatic in the sense that it was quite toxic and they really didn't like each other, and we were around maybe some conversations we shouldn't have been around, arguments, that sort of thing. However, I don't hold that against him, because I mean, if I had a baby at 19, it's, you know, it's very difficult, and I really admire them now for everything, and I think they tried their best at the time.
Yeah.
Had really great grandparents. Yeah, primary school was really good. I really liked my work. I was probably a bit of a nerd, sort of. I was really quiet, nervous sort of child.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed primary school, and then I moved to obviously secondary school. Still quiet, still sort of within myself, not in the cool gang at all. Sort of got on with my work, that type of person. And then I think when I hit around about 14, probably 15, I was like, yeah, went a bit, I don't know, off the rails a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
I sort of discovered alcohol. And I remember the first time we went out, we sort of used to just walk around Tewkesbury, and we used to wait outside Tesco's, and we used to ask people to go in and buy us Lambrini or Frosty Jack's cider. Don't know if you remember those.
Oh,
And
absolutely. Now, sorry, I should not to butt in, but like, I mean, obviously you said you're 34, so you're like, what, 11 years younger than me? And it's still, like, that's what we used to do when we were like 14, 15. We'd get older people to go in for us. People we didn't know, we just stopped them in the street. And it's surprising to me that that still was happening like kind of 10 years
oh
later. I
yeah,
mean,
it's wild.
I can't
It's so
imagine it
wild.
happening now, and I can't imagine you would, you know, like if a couple of like, you know, teenagers stopped you and asked you to go in and get you a bottle of Lambrini, there's no way you would do that, I'm
And
sure.
now I'd be like, on your bike, no way.
Yeah, like that's,
So
I mean,
many
it's,
people did it though.
yeah, yeah, and
It's
people,
insane.
and yeah, like I couldn't believe it how they were like, yeah, and it's just a bit of fun and all that. I don't know, it's just bizarre.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it really is bizarre. And I just think that, yeah, if someone came up to me now, I would be like, no way, I'm not buying you alcohol. But people do. So I'm not sure if it still happens now. But yeah, it definitely was a thing when I was younger.
yeah. I'm
But
sure
yeah,
it happens in some places, but I can't imagine it's like widespread because just the legal ramifications of that. Can you imagine getting caught going in for minors that you didn't know? It's just you know, it doesn't even bear thinking about the kind of
yeah,
ramifications
exactly.
that would you know, like going into court and like if you got charges against you for that, it'd ruin your life.
Yeah,
So
it really would. I just
yeah.
worry as well. I'd just like, oh my God, what are they up to?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or if anything happened to them, I mean, like I know friends of mine or people that we knew at the time that were probably doing the same thing, and they would get into so much bother. Not saying that we were angels, but you know, like they would get into trouble and like maybe end up in hospital or something, get their stomach pumped.
Yeah, yeah.
That came back on the person that had gone in for them. It's just
Yeah, it's
madness. Yeah,
wild, isn't it? It's
yeah,
so wild. But
yeah.
yeah, we sort of used to linger around Tesco's and Tewkesbury waiting for someone to buy us booze. And we sort of
Mm,
had this thing, like, I don't know if you remember this like alcohol campaign, but it was like Lambrini girls have more fun. I don't know if you
yeah.
remember that, like the
Oh yeah.
adverts and
Oh yeah.
stuff. And we used to be
Yeah.
like, oh, we're the Lambrini girls and all of this. And we used to get these massive bottles of Lambrini. I think they were like, I think it was something ridiculous, like £3 for a massive bottle.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how
And what
much was
was
in it.
it percent wise? It wasn't strong wine, was it? Was
It
it about
was no, it
8%?
probably was like not 7, 8%, maybe a
Yeah.
bit more than that.
But enough.
Enough. Well, I felt like I got drunk, and we used to down it and just like we used to spin round. I remember we used to like hold it, and we'd be like spin, spin, and we used to like spin round because we thought it got us more drunk, which is
Yeah.
like
It
just
just made you
crazy.
dizzy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then sort of I just remember that, and I remember the first time I drank, I was really, really quiet and I was really nervous and shy, and it
Mhm.
gave me this confidence.
Yeah.
And I probably was like 15, so I, yeah, I was just really, it gave me this confidence. I was really loud, and I wouldn't say, I think instantly I dreaded going to school on the Monday. I was
Hmm.
really embarrassed and I felt shame straight away, which is really interesting, I think, because I think a lot of people will look back and be like, "Oh, we were just having fun," and but instantly I knew it was like a negative thing, and I was felt quite shameful about it, just not maybe acting. the way I wanted to act, or
Yeah. Well,
just
maybe
being,
because you were acting different from your normal character, so you were kind of thinking, even if you hadn't done anything like super embarrassing or anything like that, it probably made you feel like, oh my God, I've changed as a person almost when I'm
yeah,
drinking.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was instant that I knew it wasn't good, but I just got in the cycle of every weekend we would be doing the same thing: alcohol, let's go and get some booze, let's
Hmm.
hang around. And we used to walk around Tewkesbury, and there used to be sort of different groups of people from our school dotted around the town on like a Friday night, and everyone would be out drinking. And it was a boozy school, like everyone did it.
Right.
Um, Especially if you wanted to be in with sort of the cool kids, like that was what you did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think I just used to put myself in some really dangerous situations, like walking places at like 3 in the morning, um,
Yeah.
just
I mean,
stupid decisions.
would you say to your like I mean, I guess you're out with your group of friends and stuff. Would you kind of go home to your own house that evening, or would you
Oh, I'd
like
be like,
stay at friends or
no, it'd be like I'd be saying I'm at a sleepover or something. We'd be in a field somewhere, like dying of like alcohol poisoning. But my
yeah.
mum would think I was at like a sleepover.
Yeah.
Um, so we would like camp out and stuff. I say camp very loosely because we had no equipment or anything. It was just someone would bring a tent along and put it up, and you just would sort of get pissed in a field and stay
And a
out till
place to
like.
pass out. Yeah.
And I remember the excuses I used to make up because I used to arrive home at like 6 in the morning. I'd be like, "Oh, my friends are going on holiday," or like I'd make up some sort of an excuse.
Yeah.
And I think my mum had another baby when I was 15, so I think she took her eye off the ball a bit with me, not because intentionally, but I think she was just busy with my sister,
Yeah.
and I
And
was sort of
you're
this.
kind of almost growing up at that point, you're 15, 16, so you can kind of take care of yourself. So
Yeah,
yeah.
sure. And also,
Yeah.
I think she didn't think she had anything to worry about because I was sort of that quiet kid, and I was, I changed quite quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I was speaking to my friend the other day. She used to live next door, and I was saying, "Well, what do you remember about that time?" She said, "I just remember walking you home after nights out and having to like lock you in the house and post the keys through the door because I would be so pissed. I would always be the most drunk person out of everybody."
Right. Right. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, even from that young age, I think it was quite toxic behaviour.
Yeah.
Um, and then sort of, I left school and I did the first year of sixth form, but I really didn't care. Like my heart wasn't in it. I didn't apply myself at all. Um, I was one of the old people in our year, so I turned 18 in the September, so I was sort of going out quite young in front of everybody else in my year.
Hmm.
Um, and then we started just going out in Tewkesbury. There was like a few clubs, and I moved out around about that point as well. I moved in with a friend, and it was
Right.
just out of control. Like, I mean, I moved in with my friend, and it was sort of all the people that didn't go to uni was just sort of hanging around the town, maybe have a part-time job, and everybody's sort of in the same boat.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we used to just get as drunk as we could before we went out, to thinking we were saving money and all of that. And we used to call ourselves the pre-lashers because we'd be like, it's all about the pre-lash.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Or drinks,
just
as we
really
call it
cringe.
now, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's when it started getting really toxic for me. I'd say
Uh-huh.
from about 17 to 19, those were quite wild years. And I think I was really lost. And I think I wasn't really speaking to my dad around this point. Me and my mum weren't on great terms. There wasn't really any guidance that I probably needed
Hmm.
around that time. And we used to go out into Tewkesbury, and I used to get myself into all sorts of situations, just I don't know, just arguments, being involved in drama, just
Or
being.
being maybe a bit mouthy or
Yeah,
just
well, not even necessarily me, just maybe like, I don't know, for instance, you'd go to the bar and there might be someone next to you, you might talk to them, and then their girlfriend would probably be like, "Oh, why are you talking to them?" And then I would
uh,
get myself into these situations where I didn't mean any harm, but it just was
just escalated. Yeah.
drama and toxic, and then falling out with people. I just feel like I was really off the rails, and I really find it hard to look back on that time sometimes. Like, I don't know who that girl is because I'm so different now.
Yeah.
I just didn't have any aspirations or dreams. I just was plodding along,
Yeah.
drinking.
And were you
I
working
didn't.
at that point? Sorry, were you?
I had like a part-time job. I think I was working at, I think it was Claire's Accessories at the time.
Right,
But when I
okay.
turned up, there was so many times I would just ring in sick and I wasn't
Yeah.
reliable. Um,
And I think when I got my first kind of apartment, flats or whatever, it was this freedom that was like, oh, I'm a
yeah,
grown up now, and no one's going to stop me, And obviously, I was enjoying
100%.
drinks, so it was just like, well, every party was round our place. And how
Hmm.
was your housemate, your flatmate? Were they big drinker as well, or were you
Oh,
still?
yeah, if yeah, same as me. It was just we had a little cottage in Tewkesbury and we used to invite everyone round. It was chaos, honestly, carnage. We used to invite like there'd be like in this tiny little house, there'd be like 30 people in there on a Friday and Saturday night and the music be blaring. Like I feel so
Yeah,
sorry for the neighbours. Um,
yeah,
it was just, yeah, I think everybody sort of who was there, I think had something going on, and it was kind of like we were a bit like the strays,
yeah,
like we
yeah,
didn't have like goals or like we weren't going to uni, and it was kind of like we're all a bit lost.
yeah.
So I don't
But
think
you
it was
find
necessarily,
comfort in that, don't you? You find comfort
yeah,
in other people that are like that, and you're like, well, we're just the part. We're young, we can do what we want, and
yeah.
I'm sure there was probably like, sleeping bodies every morning, waking up. Like I
Oh,
know,
it's
look,
horrible. Yeah.
there's so many similarities in your story to mine. I'm just sitting
Mm.
here thinking, oh my God, that's kind of the stuff we used to get up to. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was wild, and I just put myself in so many dangerous situations. Like I was thinking back when I knew I was going to do the podcast, and I've
Hmm.
forgotten about so much stuff. And I was seeing a guy at the time, and I remember he was like, "Oh, come round," and it was like probably like 3 in the morning, and I decided to walk on my own, and it was like I was in a housing estate, and I had to cut through to get to the other side to get to this other housing estate. It was probably like a 20-minute walk, and it was really dark, and it was through like a field,
Hmm.
and there was no pathway or anything, and I was on my phone, like obviously probably saying I'm on my way or whatever,
Hmm.
and I was texting away. I was pissed out of my face, and I actually fell down an embankment into water. Like I don't know what it wasn't a
Oh,
stream. It must have been part of the Severn because it was like a river, like a water,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
had
yeah.
to crawl up the embankment, like grabbing onto nettles, and like crawl out. And I was absolutely stoked. I was obviously in like going out clothes. My phone went in. It was freezing cold, and I just thought, like, oh, it's just so dangerous. And now I think as an adult, I look back, I just think that was so stupid. Um,
Yeah.
just
I thought
just
you were
things
gonna
like that.
say. I thought you were going to say something else because obviously you're walking through these kind of housing estates and big fields, and
Mm.
obviously there's predators out there. Let's be
Well, and
honest. I
that, like,
mean, there's that danger. But I think
yeah,
I see. I do listen to a lot of true crime podcasts and stuff, and there was one a few years ago where they seem to think that there's this like serial killer prowling around Manchester. But
yeah,
actually, what it is people are just falling in the canal when they're pissed, and
yeah,
the people have got this theory that there's this predator that's going around and pushing people in the canal, and they're a serial killer. It's not. It's just pissed up people
yeah.
that have no one with them at the time to kind of raise an alarm, and they're falling in the canal, and it's like, you were obviously lucky that you could climb up the embankment, but
Mm.
if you go in and it's like freezing cold water, you've not got long. Do you know what I mean? So
It was so dangerous and so stupid.
yeah,
I'm really, really lucky. These situations I've put myself in, I think I really believe somebody's been watching over me because I mean, I've done that so many times, walking places, but that in particular was really, really stupid. Um, yeah, it's so dangerous, and I really regret doing that. But
yeah.
yeah, so I arrived sort of, so like driven in,
Devil, yeah.
it was like awful. Yeah, I should have told him to bugger off. You should have come to meet me. That's what you should have done.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, any decent boyfriend would have gone, right,
Yeah,
I'll come and meet you and walk you round to mine, or I'll come to
yeah.
your place or whatever. So, yeah, so how did it kind of develop through your 20s? Did you, you know, go to college, uni, or anything like that? And, how did that develop?
So when I was about, yeah, so I was 19, it kind of went a bit tits up with my friend who I was living with. We
Hmm.
sort of had a big drunken row. Um, so I didn't really know where to go. So I went to my grandparents and I said, "This is what's happened. It's not a good situation at the house." my nan knew. I think she knew there was like alcohol involved, and she was worried about me, I think.
Hmm.
And she said, move in with us, move back home. So I moved back in with them, and that was actually, I think, the best thing I did around that time. Because I really respected my grandparents, so it wasn't like I would roll in drunk or anything like that. I mean, I would probably go out and stay somewhere, but I would never be disrespectful to them or anything like
Yeah.
that.
But I guess it
Um,
gave you a break as well from the drinking, because in the cottage with your old cottage mate, were you drinking kind of daily at that point, or was it a
I would
weekend
say,
thing?
yeah. I mean, mainly
Yeah.
at the weekends, but there definitely was times when we would buy like just midweek, buy a bottle of vodka
Yeah.
and
Oh,
drink
right. Yeah,
that,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
just random drinks in the week. So yeah, it was heavy drinking.
Yeah.
So I moved back in with my grandparents, and they really looked after me. And then around about that time is when I met my husband.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we've been together for a long time. So since I was 19.
Wow. All right.
Um,
Okay. Still 19 at this point. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
really young. And he is literally one of the most sensible guys. Like, he likes to party, but he knows when the party's done, and he knows that he has to get up for work and he has responsibilities, and
Yeah.
he's exactly what I needed.
Yeah.
Just so level-headed. Um, so yeah, we got together, and then eventually we moved in. So quite quickly. So I'm probably still 19 at this point.
Hmm. Hmm.
And we did party, but I would say it was a bit more. It wasn't as toxic, or there wasn't loads of drama and things like that. But that doesn't mean it wasn't negative, because my hangovers, that's to the point where they started getting really bad. And I
Hmm.
noticed
Could
after,
he moderate? Was he like, well, I've had 5 beers or whatever tonight. I'm gonna still stay out, but I'm gonna only have that amount of beers. Whereas you were obviously just drinking,
oh
drinking.
yeah, he could stop. He'd be like, I'm done, I've
Yeah,
drank enough. I would
yeah,
always take it too far, like to the next level. Like, I would want to stay out and drink more.
yeah.
Um,
Well, we just
like
don't want the party to end, and hate's a strong word, but I'm just like almost. Well, I used to be jealous of people like that when I first got
mm,
sober. I was like, how can they do that? And now I'm
yeah,
just kind of done with it. But it's
yeah,
like they do have that off switch, and I just never had it. And it
I
doesn't sound like
didn't.
you had either. Yeah.
That's what scared me. I think that I knew when I was drunk that, like, I could feel like I wanted more,
Hmm.
and I wanted to
Hmm.
carry on and drink, and that kind of scared me. And I think it was when you sort of have a bottle of wine in the fridge, and well, you might buy two bottles of wine, and I noticed I started digging into the second bottle of wine, and I was like thinking in the morning, well, I've only had a little bit out of it, and then I'd go down. Actually, I've drank like 1.5 bottles of wine. Like, it's a lot of alcohol, and I'm not very big, so like my body didn't process it very well, and my hangovers the next day, like, I think people thought I was being dramatic, but I honestly felt horrendous. And this wasn't just for one day, this would be for like the whole week after.
Mm.
um and I'd be like, I'm such a bad person, like I'd feel really shameful. I'd be really fatigued, like it was taking more than what I was getting from maybe a few
Yeah.
hours of fun the night before. um yeah, and it was just, that's when I started noticing, I think, that it just, I wasn't processing it like some people do.
Hmm.
Or maybe they don't and they're just not showing it. But um
I mean, I think everyone gets the hangovers, but it's like, yeah, some people obviously get more susceptible to longer hangovers and things like that. But I think also like it is a depressant, and when that starts setting in and giving you that anxiety that's lasting longer than like Monday or Tuesday, it's like, what?
mm,
This is bad. I mean, what I used to do, I just used to drink on top of that. So yeah,
yeah, see, I was always like, if I had that bad hangover, that would put me off for a while, like
hmm,
maybe like 2 weeks or something.
yeah,
And I would be like, oh, I'm having a break. And I think that's when that sort of cycle started of binging, break,
yeah,
binging, break. And this was like, it was like this for years. And I think because alcohol's so accepted, I at this point I don't think I ever thought about stopping, because to be honest, I didn't think it was an option. I just thought everybody drank, and it was part of society and what people do.
And you're young,
Um,
like why would you have a drink problem? Do you know what I mean?
exactly,
You're like
yeah.
in your twenties and it's like, no, you've just had a bit of a rough week or whatever, or
Mm,
you overdid it that weekend, so but you're fine, you're young, how could you be an alcoholic or whatever, it's
yeah, yeah.
crazy to think that way. But that's what society tells us.
Exactly. And I think that's what kept me trapped for so long because I didn't know it was an option. And I think in my early 20s, it isn't like now. I don't think it was so much about the wellness and the things you see on Instagram like it is. I don't think it existed then. I don't, maybe it did, but I didn't see it. I mean, there's so much stuff now, isn't there? There's podcasts, there's sober pages, there's books, there's just like so much.
And the
And I,
fact that it's now being considered, to if you've got like an alcohol use disorder or misuse disorder, it's considered to be like a mental health issue.
yeah,
And, yeah, 10, 15 years ago, like even 5 years ago, mental health wasn't really being spoken about as much as it is now,
no,
and
no.
wellness and all of these things. Like
Mm.
employers now have a duty of care, and yeah, you're right. There's just so many things about it now, and it's growing all the time. But yeah, like 10 years ago, it was just not even thought of.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, so around that time, I just didn't think it was an option to stop. So I was in the cycle of obviously repeating the same behavior and getting the same results. And I
Mhm.
think I got to about mid 20s and I got my job that I'm in now, which is in project management. So it felt like a grown up job, starting a career.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and I was still drinking, but it was more like Thursday night, I'd open a bottle of wine and sort of finish that on the sofa, go into work hanging on the Friday, like at my desk, like just wanting to die. Um, and I was stuck in that
It's a
cycle.
Friday, isn't it? So it's like, yeah,
Yeah,
we're kind of
gonna be
winding
fine,
down.
half day, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But I noticed as well, like my husband, he never really drank like that with me. He would go up to bed and I'd end up staying up
Hmm.
drinking on my own. Um, Again, probably a red flag, I think, drinking on your own. Um,
Yeah, but you work hard and you deserve it. That's what again society's telling us. You've had a good day, you've had a bad day, have a bottle of wine, and you're doing it on a Thursday. It's not as if you're opening it on Monday night. So yeah,
no.
on paper, you're doing everything that is normal, apparently.
So I got in the cycle of that, like sort of Thursday, then it'd be like Friday, Saturday, and I was in that cycle for quite some time. And then I think it was really weird. Somebody at my work had was talking about how they weren't drinking, and I just thought, oh, this is really interesting. And I just
Mm.
started asking her loads of questions. And she was in her 50s, so she was a bit older than me. And she was like, "Oh, I've read this book, and it was the Lucy Rocker, the Joy Soberista. What's it called? The Rise of the Soberista. It was called, and that
Oh
was
yeah, yeah, yeah.
the first quit lit book I read. Um,
And how
and oh
old
my
were you
god,
at this point?
oh, I think I was like 25.
Okay,
It
wow, right, right.
and it planted a seed for sure. Like it took me a long time after this to get sober, but it was always at the back of my mind after reading that. And she also had like a website you could go on and it had like a chat section so you could talk on it to other people that were wanting to quit drinking. So I
Mhm.
joined that and I remember writing a blog post being hungover and saying like I just feel trapped, I'm in the cycle. And that was the first, I guess, taste of the sober community I had.
Mhm.
Um, so from there, I think I carried on for a while. I mean, I would probably have weeks off here and there, being a bit more mindful about it, but I still was
Mhm.
drinking.
Yeah.
And then obviously 2020 comes around.
Yeah.
We got married in Barbados in the January.
Oh wow, right,
Um,
okay. So just before the kind of
yeah, just
lockdown
before.
and yeah, yeah.
So close. I remember my nan saying, "There's this little virus going around," and she was like, "You need to be careful in Barbados." And I was like, "Nan, it's going to be fine." And then little did I
Everyone's saying
know,
just a bit of a cold and this and that, and it's
yeah.
fine. And you're obviously getting married, so you're like, yeah, this is great. Yeah.
So we got married in the January. Really, we had a really good time. Really weirdly, I feel like I think this is what kept me trapped for so long as well. When I would go away and we'd have loads of nice holidays, like I always felt like I was more sensible on holiday. Like I would
Okay.
have drinks, obviously, but I don't know whether it's because I was in a foreign country and I was a bit more mindful about drinking, but I was like, well, on holiday I can be sensible. Why can't I be sensible back home? Like, I don't know
I mean,
why.
it's interesting because obviously, I mean, we just come back from Morocco and it was like a dance festival, Manx dancing. My wife's involved in, and obviously I don't drink, and there was a few people drinking, but it's a non-drinking country. But I was speaking to a contractor the other day, and he was like, "Oh yeah, Morocco. I went there. Did you go all inclusive?" And I was like, "No." And I didn't go into the fact that no, I don't drink,
Yeah.
but he went to Morocco, went all inclusive, and it sounds like he didn't really see much of Morocco, but
No, that's the problem, isn't
I think
it?
you're just stuck in this, kind of resort or whatever, and you're just drinking. But it's sensible that because a lot of people go on holiday, get really drunk, and they don't know what they're doing. They don't know how, because a lot of places, a lot of countries aren't as tolerant with kind of
Mhm.
drunken people walking around the streets as well as they are in the UK. So
Yeah.
yeah. And how was your wedding? Sorry, were you drinking at your wedding? How
I
was that?
I was, as I said, I was probably a bit more sensible. I'm not saying I was like an angel, but I had a good time, and I feel
Hmm.
like I think this is important as well. Like, I'm trying to get my head around. Like, it's okay to look back on some scenarios. Like, I actually, yeah, that was fine,
Yeah.
but there are some good memories, of course. But then I look at the bigger picture, and I'm like, actually, the bad started outweighing these odd
Yeah.
occasions where I could moderate. And I felt like every time I drank, it was like Russian roulette to what I was going to be like.
Mm.
Um, and it just, yeah, the risk was just getting higher and higher. So we got back from Barbados, lockdown. It was April, wasn't it, that it hit?
Yeah.
Um, and that's probably when my drinking got really, really heavy drinking. We were drinking like every night in the garden. Like I was drinking lots of wine. I was smoking lots of cigarettes.
Mm.
Do you remember they like doing those quiz nights and stuff on like
Oh God, yeah, yeah.
oh, we were doing these quizzes and getting, I mean, I think the most drunk I've ever got is in lockdown.
Did you
Because
get a hot tub?
no, we didn't.
No, no. Because I've seen a few
Why
people
did
on
you?
here, and I hear no. I mean, I was an absolute mess during lockdown for the first part because I was on my own and I was just going through some serious stuff. I'd actually been in rehab, and 3 days after I got into rehab, we went into the first lockdown. So I
Oh my
spent like
God.
28 days of the first lockdown in a detox place, which was good for me. But then I
Yeah.
came out and relapsed. But no, I've heard so many people that went and got these kind of blow up, hot tubs
Yeah.
because they're like, well, and it was a great summer. But I was listening to someone the other day and they were saying that I think there's some science behind if you're drinking in a hot tub, you get drunk quicker or
Yeah,
something.
you
I don't know if
do.
that's
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah. It's the temperature, isn't it? Yeah, I've heard
Yeah, the
that.
temperature, the pressure, I don't know, but there's something to do with that. So like you can be in there with a bottle of Prosecco or whatever, drink, 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 and then you get out the hot tub and you fall over. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, we didn't. I'm sure we probably toyed with the idea of getting one, but we did. We were just sat in
yeah.
the garden with a fire pit, drinking around that. Um, and we got drunk on one of those quizzes.
Hmm.
Um, and we must have stayed up till like, well, I probably stayed up till like 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Um, getting really, really drunk, opening another bottle of wine, and I woke up the next day, and I honestly, I it was the worst hangover. I was throwing up. I was shaking because obviously I drank so much wine. Like it was awful, and I was like, this is ridiculous. So that was my first start of my first stint of sobriety. I did nearly 10 months of
Wow,
not
right, okay.
drinking, and I set
Just
up a
after that
page.
night, yeah.
Yeah, yes, I did really, really well. I set up a page. I've got a different page now because I couldn't get back into the old one, but it was called Fab and Sober, and that's where I started blogging about my journey.
Yeah.
And I did 10 months, and I did really, really well. I was really proud of that. And unfortunately, everyone started to turn 30, like coming towards the end of that 10 months. There was
Uh,
loads of 30th birthday parties. I was about to turn 30, and I've decided to drink for somebody's party. And yeah, big mistake. But I will say it was a learning experience as well, because I realise now, like, if you go back to it, nothing changes. It's exactly the same.
yeah.
Like I thought, oh, I'm cured. I can drink now and
Yeah,
it'll
you've
be
done 10 months.
fine.
You've proved it to yourself. But
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but every time, like, I mean, people say that relapse is definitely, a kind of process of
Mm.
recovery. It's part of it, and for me, it was. I mean, I don't know how many relapses I had until I didn't, and
Yeah.
every time I would go back to it, it got worse and worse because it wouldn't be like I could go back and right, I'll just have a couple of glasses tonight. It
Mm.
was like within a day or two, I was back to what I was drinking
Yeah.
before. You
I
know.
felt like that as well in a way, like I felt like I was drinking more as well when I went back to it. Like it was
Yeah.
almost like because I hadn't had it in so long, I was like, oh, like let's get shit
It's
faced
you
basically.
get that yearning for it, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so I fell off the wagon with that. Um, so the worst mistake I think I made with that is I decided, well, I've gone back to it now, let's delete the sober page. That
hmm
because I felt like I was drinking again, what I should have done is kept that page and kept posting
Document
about it.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because the worst thing you can do is turn your back on it. That's why now on my page, like if I see someone's like, oh, I'm on day one again, I'm like, good for you posting that because you just got to keep going until it sticks. And I
yeah,
think you learn so much along the way, and there's so much you can't unlearn the data in your head, like it's there, and once you know it, you know it.
hmm
And I felt like, yeah, I should have kept that page, but anyway, I didn't. And then it took me, wow, until now, till well, I was 33 actually. I've just turned 34,
hmm
to 33 to do it again. And there was a few things. Actually, I'm missing out on an important bit. I had a baby in
Congrats.
2023, and it
hmm
was really interesting because when I got pregnant, I was like, thank God I don't have to drink now. Like it was totally off the table for me. I knew I would never drink pregnant.
Yeah,
And it was a relief. I was like, I've got like 9 months where I don't have to worry about do I drink, do I not drink, do I like it.
yeah.
I
You were just
loved
like, there's
it.
no question. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I really loved my pregnancy, really enjoyed it. No alcohol whatsoever. Had my daughter, and then I think it was a while before I had my first drink after that. I think it was, well, I say a while, it probably wasn't really like 8 weeks after.
hmm
It was a friend's hen party. Again, went out, got absolutely shit faced, woke up with so much regret and just obviously even more shame because I'm a mum now, and just like the mum guilt is just something else, and I just felt like an awful person. Um, and then from that there was a few occasions after that where a few negative things happened. So I wasn't drinking daily and I wasn't drinking that often, but when I did, it was getting really really drunk because it's almost like, oh, I'm out tonight, I'm going to make the most of it and get
yeah,
drunk. And there was an occasion we went to Cheltenham races, and we'd been out from like really early, like probably like 9 in the morning, meeting for breakfast with drinks, out all day, um absolutely paralytic. And we ended up in a pub in Cheltenham, and there was a girl there that's in our sort of circle of friends who I've known for years, and I don't really remember the incident, but we basically ended up in an argument, and
mhm.
I basically was not very nice to her, and but I can't remember it, so I must have been in like a blackout.
Okay, yeah,
um and the next day I woke up and my husband was like, you know what you did, you said this to her and this, and I was like, oh my God, like what the hell. The first thing I did was like apologize to her. I was like, I'm so sorry. I said, it's nothing to do with you. I said, it's the ugliness in me. Like I was just drunk and it's not you. And I felt awful.
hmm
But that really scared me because I think it's the lack of control and losing that. Like I can't remember what happened. Um,
And
and
did
that
you have many blackouts up until this point, or was that kind of
I
one of
I
the
think I
first?
noticed towards the end I started blacking out more. So
Yeah,
it was almost like um waking up and there would just be parts of the night missing, and then obviously I knew all this stuff because I've read every quick lit going, like I knew I was blacking out, I knew it. um and then following that there was probably another gap, and then we went on a night out. It was like a Mexican night, and we basically, me and my husband got in the biggest argument we've ever got in. um
mm,
and it was really really horrible, and again, woke up really like it just if I hadn't drank, it would never ever happen. We don't argue like that, and it was
Yeah.
alcohol,
Was there tequila
drink,
involved?
margaritas, yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah. My husband still drinks, and he says he still can't drink margaritas from that night because it for him as well. Like he was really upset about it, and we
Yeah.
just don't argue like that, and it just shows what alcohol can do. And like I wonder whether some people don't actually realize, like maybe in their relationships, that it's contributing towards
Oh, I
maybe
think you
arguments and things that you
absolutely
wouldn't say.
hit the nail on the head. I think there's so many relationships that are volatile, and they're like, oh, that's just how we are. And it's like, well, maybe you're not like that. Maybe that's just because
Yeah.
you're both drinking a lot and then you're getting into arguments when you're
Mm.
drinking. Because let's be honest, like I, like my wife and me, we never argue. I mean, we obviously have little kind of disagreements and stuff,
Yeah.
but that's life. But like all of my relationships before, we'd have massive big blowouts, and it was
Yeah.
all down to drinking. Like both of us,
Yeah.
not just me included, And it's like that's not a way to live, you
It
know.
isn't. And
Yeah,
it's just so, yeah, I was just so annoyed at myself because it was just so avoidable. And it was over
yeah.
something really stupid that evolved into this massive thing when you're pissed. And actually,
Mm.
it didn't matter. And I was actually a bit shaken after that because I think it was just like, again, lack of control and um, putting myself in a situation like that where it didn't need to be in that situation.
Hmm.
And I felt awful. Still from that, I still probably had a few more times after that I drank. And then leading up to when I stopped now, it actually wasn't that eventful. It was, we had friends around for a barbecue. I drank a bottle of wine, and then I think I had a few like cocktails after. So again, I'm always like pushing it, like having more. I think my husband went to bed and I carried on drinking for a bit, and I woke up in the morning.
Hmm.
And it was a beautiful sunny Sunday outside, like stunning, and I was thrown up in the toilet. And we had plans to go meet friends for a Sunday lunch.
Hmm.
And we got there, and we were sat in this pub, and it was really hot in there, and I was feeling really hanging, when you feel really sick, and just I was like, how have I got in this situation?
Yeah.
And I just sat there, and it was as simple as thinking, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing to myself? Like, it's a beautiful Sunday. I'm meant to be having a nice roast dinner. I couldn't even touch the food because I felt so sick. I was like, I'm done. I'm so done. And that was it. That was my day one.
What was the date, Ash?
It was 137 days ago, so it was June, I think. June,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Wow. And
So
the
I'll be
thing
coming
is,
up 5 months.
yeah, well done you, and congratulations on that. I mean, it's just amazing. And obviously, like we had a great summer. It was super hot all through the
Mhm.
summer, and from June, you've still got the whole summer ahead of you. So to
Yeah, yeah.
abstain all that time is just amazing. And did you? I mean, obviously you've got your Instagram and you've been reading your Quitlet and whatnot. Did you kind of get any other kind of external help or meetings or anything like that
I have
after?
never done any meetings. I
Yeah.
really sort of threw myself into my Instagram page and connecting with people on that.
Yeah.
Podcast, I mean, it drives my husband mad because I've always got a podcast on. He's like, do you know what? You've ruined alcohol for me because I know everything now about it too. So
Also,
he
you don't
hardly
have the
drinks
earbuds
anymore.
in. You don't have the
No, he's like, he goes,
earbuds.
can you put headphones in? I'm like, no, because I like it on.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
um, I think I've listened to every podcast going, every book, and I just really immerse myself in it, and stay accountable on the page. I think you can't promise forever, but I know today I don't want to drink,
Yeah.
and I know I've learned not to turn my back on the community because I know it's just so supportive and it's the most positive people ever. And
Mhm.
even if you're having a bad day, there's always somebody there to talk to.
Oh, without
Um,
a doubt. I don't think, touch wood, I've never come across any toxicity. I know there is, and I know that some people have kind of experienced that on Instagram or wherever, but me myself personally, I've never had any kind of, toxic comments or anything like that on there
yeah.
because it's just, and social media can be so toxic if you're in the wrong kind
Hmm.
of, area of whatever you're talking about or whatever
Yeah,
your page
yeah.
is about. But within our community, it's all just pure love and support. And
It really is.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
great.
amazing. I know, I know. So, um, Yeah, so you've just been kind of, like for me, when I made I set up my page and I think I was like 13 days sober and I kind of filled in a few extra like posts and all that. Got it up to 13 and then I posted every single day. And like yourself,
Yeah,
it was to hold me accountable. So it was just like, this is my daily kind of mantra. I'm going to post a picture, some kind of, meme or whatever, just to
yeah,
kind of, yeah, hold myself accountable. And yeah, and I did that for 500 days. So I posted every day
wow,
for 500
that's
days.
amazing. And it's
Yeah.
amazing to see how far you've come, like from like the day one to like to now, and you can look back and it's nice, like little diary of what you've done and achieved.
Exactly. And I like what you were saying earlier about wishing that you'd kept your other page, going and saying, well, this is my blip or whatever. And
Mm.
I was kind of ready to do the same, but I kind of knew in myself, like I'd had so many relapses and I was like, this time it's okay. It's only for today because I used to do a lot of NA and all that. And I did that
Yes.
kind of militantly for a year, but I was like, just for today, I'm not going to drink. I don't know if you follow Gary Mayer's Sober and Sound. His mantra is get to midnight, go again. And I think
Yeah.
that's just a great simple way of doing it. And that was me for the first year. And I think there's a guy that I follow, and he's bless him, he's been doing it on and off now for about 2.5 years. And what he does is like I'll know he's relapsed because it'll get to Saturday morning and I'll go and look at his page and the picture will be gone and it'll be saying this page is private or whatever
Yeah.
because he's
Yeah.
closed it down. And then he'll
Yeah.
start it up again and I said to him, stop deleting all of this stuff. This
Yeah.
is all progress, but now you've
There's
just
no
forgotten.
shame in it as well. Like you've just got
No,
to keep going and you've got to keep trying
no,
and doing it.
no.
And I think people obviously it's if you can stick to it, stick to it. But like we're all human at the end of the day and we're not perfect and it's not linear, is it? It's not gonna be every journey's the same. And I think it's really important to, you know, communicate with people. And I know the support on the sober Instagram is amazing. I know if you ever had a day one, like people would be there for you straight away and they'd be like, keep going. And I always say it's a bit like if you were on a diet. If you like, you're like off, you fall off the diet. You're not like I always think you're not unlearning that good stuff that you've been on the diet. It's just you go again, don't you? It's like you shouldn't have to feel like you failed. Like you've just
Yeah,
got to keep
yeah.
going.
Without a doubt, and I think that's so important because anytime I see people on like day one or week one or whatever, I'm like, keep going because that's the
Yeah.
important ones. It's like once they've got to like, 3 months or 100
Mhm.
days or a year, it's like that's great as well. But the day ones are the most important because they are
100%.
super kind of struggling and don't know what they're doing and they're
Mhm.
so tempted to kind of just go out and go, wow, what's the point? Like in my
Yeah.
case anyway, like what's the point in doing this? Because I've never done it before. Well, I can't do it. I've never had a chance to do it before. So how were those first kind of couple of months for you? With it obviously being summer and friends going to barbecues or going out for drinks and whatnot. How was that?
There were some tough moments. I think there was some, like, I always say, like, I miss when I have had a moment of missing it. It's more that, when people get together and it's that first drink and everyone's together and everyone's excited for the night.
Yeah, yeah.
I struggled with that bit. But then once I got past that and it was like 9 o'clock and everyone's on their third, fourth drink and talking absolute shit, I'm just like, I'm so glad I haven't drank. Um, it was yeah, up and down. But I think because I feel like this time I've gone into it with a bit more of an open mind and a positive attitude. I think the previous time
Hmm.
why I failed is because I felt like I was missing out.
Yeah.
And I think as well I didn't change a lot about my routine and is it the saying dry drunk? I can't remember the saying, but like I
Yeah, yeah.
was I was just not drinking, but I was sort of doing all the same things.
White knuckling
Um,
it, and yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Whereas this time I started Couch to 5K, I've joined a running group,
Oh, nice.
I'm looking into starting new hobbies, I've adopted rescue chickens, I'm like in the garden, I'm changing my routine and I think I need to have more things to get excited about because if I can drop the wine, but if I don't change everything else, it's still exactly the same really. So, I've got to keep working
Yeah.
on myself and
And how
finding
are
new
you?
things.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely what you need to do is kind of take up new hobbies. And do you know what? Like someone said to me way back when like I stopped drinking, and towards the end I wasn't really a social drinker, it was just a solo thing. But like they'd say
Yeah.
like, oh, like what are you gonna do now you don't drink? And I'm like,
Yeah.
everything else, it's this is
All the
not
stuff I wanted to
yeah,
do.
this is like not the only thing that people do or should be doing like with their
Yeah.
weekends. It's not like, and so how were your friends when you told them? Were they quite supportive, or was there any kind of, oh, go on, Ash, just have one, or
I think the circle I have now, everyone's really supportive. And I think because I mean, this journey for me has been going on for a long time. Like I said, I started getting sober curious, when I was 25. So I've been
yeah,
back and forth with it for such a long time. I think they could see sort of the strain on my mental health,
hmm,
and they knew me very well. And I think they could see like I wasn't happy with sort of the habits that I was doing and going back to the same things. I'm really, really lucky with that. I think sometimes it's the people you least expect that will have an issue. So, for instance, like my mum, she doesn't drink. Like she might have one gin and tonic at like Christmas or something like that once a year. She just doesn't I've never ever seen her drunk. She doesn't drink. She's like, well, you don't want to be one of those people that doesn't drink. You just want to have one with your dinner. And I was thinking, and she doesn't mean that to be mean, but she
no,
doesn't
but it's because
understand.
she has a different makeup. Yeah, she can
Yeah,
do
she doesn't
that.
understand the issues of it or being drunk or hangover. Like she doesn't get it. And sometimes I'm learning that it's okay. Just let them continue and let me control what I want to control. Like I can only control what I want to do. And there's always going to be somebody that will have an issue with it or just won't get it. Or maybe it feels like it's a mirror up to them and
Yeah,
well, I drank the same as her and she's stopped drinking, so does she think I've got a problem? And it's not
mhm,
that at all. So definitely I'm caring less what other people think and just doing me now because I
yeah,
think, like I said, the first time I got sucked back into it because I think there's an expectation with people that you're going to be that party girl forever and you're going to be that loud person and fun, quote fun.
yeah.
um, but
I
yeah,
think. uh, Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, I just think I've stopped caring what people think and just doing what I want to
Yeah,
do now and not worrying
and
about it. If they've got an issue, it's that on them, not me.
well, exactly, and I think you're so right. I mean, it sounds like you've got a great, kind of group of friends and supporting you and things, but it is true. Like when I go out, and people have had like 3 or 4 drinks, I'm kind of like, right, and I don't want to be out till 3 in the morning anyway, so I'll just
No.
kind of make my excuses and go. But I
Yeah.
think people's attitudes are definitely changing. Like it used
Hmm.
to be, oh, why are you not drinking, or what you done that for? People just, if you say, oh, I'm not drinking, they're like, oh yeah, cool, whatever. Because I think, like you're
Yeah.
saying about mental health and people's wellness, people understand that it isn't, if it's not serving you any purpose and if it's bringing a negative impact, then, crack on, carry on. It's
Definitely.
definitely better. And would you say, what would you say? Do you think that alcohol still has a place in our society? What are your thoughts on alcohol now?
I honestly think
Hmm.
I've said this for a while. I think alcohol is where smoking was like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, I think there's change. It's very slow change, but like you said, more and more people are sort of jumping on board with it. And I mean, even from when I started that first sober page back in 2020, so in
Hmm.
5 years, the sober community has just grown.
Yeah.
Like when I went on there was not as many pages as there is now.
Hmm.
And I think change is happening very slowly, but I think it is definitely going to be in, I reckon, another 20 years. I think it would be sort of like smoking,
Yeah. Well, because it is just as
hopefully.
bad for you. Like, there's so many different diseases and cancers that
Hmm.
are linked to it now, and it's like, why are people still doing that? Or at least, why is there not the same warnings on bottles as there is for
Yes.
smoking? That's the key. I think once they start doing that, and other countries have started implementing it, I think the UK and England in particular will be last in the queue because
Yeah.
the smoking ban, when it started in pubs, and I was a smoker back then, and I was like, oh, what, Scotland had banned it. I think Ireland had banned it in pubs indoors, and I was like, no, that can't happen. And then it happened in England when I was living there, and I was like, oh man. And but now I'm looking back and I'm like, yeah, what? Like, I can't even imagine smoking in pubs now. When people are
It's
eating in
crazy, isn't it?
yeah,
I
it's
think
unbelievable.
I think the ban came in. I think I just missed it. So I turned 18 and it must have been that year it stopped. So I never actually got to have a cigarette in a pub ever. So, but I think that was a blessing in disguise, probably. So,
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, at the time, like when I used to go, when I was 18, I lived up in Aberdeen, and I'd go into a pub and I'd get my whiskey chaser, my pint, and I'd be sat at the bar and smoking fags, and I thought I was in heaven. And it's like thinking back now, like, oh, it's so dirty and kind of seedy.
yeah, yeah.
So you kind of you do a bit of, I mean, I don't know if campaigning's the right word, but like posting about the mummy wine culture and how you're kind
Mhm.
of against that. So how did you kind of, because you would have been what, about a year or two into motherhood when you kind of really quit, or three years was it
Yeah,
before?
so my daughter's two and a half
It
now.
was two,
So
yeah. So
yeah, so she two and a bit. So I think the mummy culture, wine culture is just it's everywhere, isn't it? Like it's the memes that are going around on like Facebook and Instagram and like, you deserve that wine and I can see why people get sucked into it and I do understand because I've been there. But it is frustrating when you have all this knowledge and you see people, oh, I've had such a hard day, I'm gonna have a glass of wine or a bottle of wine. And it's like
yeah,
even in the office when I'm in there, like you have a stressful day and then someone turns around and says, oh, you deserve a big glass of wine tonight. And I'm like, I actually turn around and say, no, I don't. I was like, I don't drink. And I
yeah,
say that, I have the confidence to say that now. Whereas
good for you.
before, I think I felt a bit shameful about it. Like I didn't want to say because what if they think this of me or but
That's
I
and
say it
that's
now.
that's the connotation and the negative stigma that we have around this. It's like you don't want to say, "Oh, I don't drink," because people might go, "Oh, did you have a problem with it?" And it's
Mm,
like, it doesn't matter whether you did or you didn't. Like you're a better person than possibly they are because they're going home and drinking a bottle of wine because they've had a
yeah,
bad day or something like that, or a
yeah,
tough day. So yeah, the stigma needs to be broken down, and I think having people like
definitely,
yourself out there is definitely doing that. And it's
definitely.
yeah, the mummy wine culture thing is just crazy because it gives people an excuse. Like if they have had a tough day with the kids, let's be honest, kids are not easy. They're not, and it's like it is that if you're seeing a meme or an advert and it's like saying to you, "You've had a bad day with the kids, you deserve it," and
Mhm.
it's like, "Oh yeah, do you know what? That's what I do." And then yeah, you will get that kind of respite for, I don't know, half an hour and an hour, and then but it doesn't change how you're dealing with the kids or anything. In fact, it probably makes you like a little bit, kind of more blasé about the kids and
Yeah,
not
definitely.
from you as
And
much.
it's seen as what annoys me as well, people see it as like self-care, and it's just like that is the furthest thing from self-care that you can do. What you need is an early night, or you need to have a hot bath, read your book. Like you need to look after yourself first because looking after children's really, really hard.
Yeah.
Um, and I just the thought of waking up with a hangover and looking after a 2.5-year-old, I'm just like, I couldn't do it. Like I could not do it, and I
Yeah.
don't want to do it. And I've got a duty as a parent now. I've got to set an example, and I want her to grow up to realise that you don't need alcohol to have fun. You
Mhm.
don't need alcohol to be confident. You just need to be you and be yourself. Because I think when I was growing up, I thought I needed to be somebody else that I wasn't, and I thought alcohol gave me that. But actually, you just got to be you, and you've got to do what's right. And I think with my daughter, I'm not naive. I know she probably will maybe try alcohol one day, but I just hope she knows that she's enough as she is because you don't need that to be a better person.
Well,
And hopefully, leading by example, she won't want
funny.
to.
Well, exactly, and that's the thing. Kids have got to kind of make their own choices. We can kind of steer them. I've got three-step kids, and they're all getting to an age where they will be thinking about it or trying it in
Yeah.
a few years' time and all that. And it's like they've got to make their own decisions, but we've got to kind of go, well, why are you doing that? Or if you're going to do it sensibly and whatnot. I
Hmm.
mean, they know my situation. I don't think they quite know exactly what I was like and how bad it got, but they do know that I don't drink and that I don't drink for certain reasons. But it's hard to kind of see where they're going to go with it as well. It is the life and times we're in, but I think the younger people are not. They're definitely not drinking as much. From
It's
what
not
I can
cool
see.
anymore, is it? Like people like don't want to do it. It's not the
Yeah,
in thing. And
and the
hopefully it
thing
stays that way.
Absolutely, but I think it's also the control as well. They don't want to lose control because people have phones that can record them doing stupid things.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
I was younger, and I'm sure probably when you were that age as well, when you're teenagers or whatever, there wasn't the same kind of instant video and then put it on WhatsApp or on Instagram or Facebook, and it was like
yeah, yeah.
mortified if any of the stuff I did was filmed.
Yeah, same. Oh my God, thank God it's out there.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy.
Or if it was filmed, it'd be really blurry. It wouldn't be good quality.
It'd be bloody.
You could
I
deny
mean,
it.
I've got a video of me, and I was in a park, and I'm trying to find it. It's on some computer somewhere, or online somewhere, but not out for the masses. I think I've got it put in I don't know, Pix. What are they called? I don't know, some kind of website, but it's
Yeah.
it's my account, and it's on there, and it's me in a park with a friend of mine, and we'd been drinking rosé wine all day. It was when I lived in Cambridge, and these guys came along with these kind of, I don't know what you call them. They're not stilts, but they were kind of bouncy stilts, and you
Yeah.
strap them on. And I mean, it's so pixelated and whatnot, but I absolutely out my face got these things strapped on. Like I could have broken my leg, but actually I
Yeah.
was quite good. So I don't know. It
You
was
were lucky.
yeah, but I need to find that. Is that your
Oh
dog coming?
yeah, my two dogs have just come to say hello.
Yeah,
God.
I'm surprised my cats haven't come in because they normally jump up on me. So yeah.
Now they're starting to
Eh,
fight.
yeah, just showing off. I want to be on the
Yeah.
on the podcast.
Shush, shush,
Uh,
shush.
Ashley, do you regret getting sober?
No, no, it's the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah,
Um, I think to anybody is questioning your journey with alcohol, just have a break and just see how you get on with it because life without alcohol is so much better.
yeah,
Um, I've got a long way to go. I'm 4 months in now. I know there's still a lot of learning, a lot of growing to do, but yeah, I would never regret getting sober. It's the best thing.
yeah. And
I
honestly,
think,
it just keeps getting better. So you sound like you're kind of completely committed to it, but I'm sure you have your good days and your bad days and that. But obviously, as you know, the alternative is just the worst thing. So, are they playing the piano there?
oh, they're literally like fighting on the floor. It's so annoying. They were just asleep. Stop.
Yeah, but it honestly, sobriety is the best thing I've ever done, and it just keeps getting better and better and
It
better. I'm like
does.
five years plus now, and it's like, wow, I couldn't even
It's
imagine going
amazing.
back to it now. Thank you, but it's just madness to think, had I not stopped, I don't think I'd even be here if that was the case. So yeah, yeah. Have you got any recommendations for? I know you say you read all the Quit Lit and podcast, but have you got any recommendations for a podcast, a Quit Lit book, or a film with regards to recovery? One or all three?
The podcast I would probably say that I've listened to the most is probably Sober Stories
Oh
from
yeah,
Everyday People. I really like that one because it's like your podcast. It's so many varied people and different stories. I really recommend that one. Um, what other ones have I listened to? Mm, my book, I'd probably say I'm going to go with the first one I ever read because this is the one that sort of opened the gates of sobriety for me. Is The Rise of the Soberista by Lucy Rocca.
yeah. I've not
um,
read that one, but I know it. But yeah, I think it's on my Quit Lit list books to read. There's so many out there now as well, though. That's the thing.
so
It's
many.
amazing.
I really
Yeah.
like I've forgotten the author, but there's one called We Are the Luckiest as well. I don't know if you've read that.
Oh no,
Um,
no, I haven't heard that one. I'll look it up. We are the
yeah,
luckiest.
that's a really nice book, really good. A film, a TV show. Do you know what I do? There's one called 28 Days. I think it's got is it 28 Days? I'm going to say
Sandra
28
Bullock.
Days later. It's something like that. 28 Days, and it's got Sandra Bullock in it, and it's about
Yeah,
her she's getting sober, and I love that film. Like it's really, really good.
it's
So
so
recommend that.
weird. It's so weird. It took me until maybe about a year or two ago before, like, I'd always seen it. I think it came out in the '90s or maybe early noughties, and it was
Yeah,
like I saw it, and I really liked Sandra Bullock, but I just didn't know what it was about, and I didn't put the kind of connection between, because when I went to rehab, it was 28 days, and
yeah,
then I watched it. Someone recommended it to me, and I thought, oh, this is a fantastic film because it's funny, but it's also pretty gritty as well, and
yeah,
it
definitely.
shows what it's like as well, and she's
Yeah,
brilliant in it.
she's
Yeah,
really good in that, and I think she shows at the beginning like how she's out of control. Like, it just like she just gets it just right, doesn't she? Like being
yeah.
drunk at the wedding, and she sort of falls into the cake and all of that. It's
Did
just
she not drive the car into like someone's? like driveway or something that smashed
Yeah,
it. Whoa,
she
yeah,
ends up in a car driving off or something. But yeah, that's a really good movie. Highly
it's
recommend that one.
absolutely madness. Yeah, no, I love it. And where can people find you, Ash, on Instagram?
So I'm at Booze Free Sparkle.
Hmm.
I'm on TikTok, but I don't really use that. On TikTok, it's Ashley Shepherd. But if you want to give me a follow, come on then, message me. I'm always there. I normally send a voice note. Just find that easiest. But so if you've got
Yeah, yeah,
any
yeah, yeah.
questions or like people want to contact me, feel free to just ping me a message and I'll respond.
I love it. Yeah, and I'll put all this in the kind of show notes of the podcast. But yeah,
Thank you.
is there anything else you want to tell the listeners, or?
I don't think so. I think bit of a advice is I think I said touched on it earlier, but just keep going. Like I had quite a few day ones,
Mhm.
and I didn't give up. You just got to keep going and keep learning. Once we know better, we do better. Yeah, keep going. You can do it.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, thank you so much for coming on the pod, and it's just been a pleasure. And I appreciate your sobriety and what you're doing in the sober world as well, and sober community. So thank you, and thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Jimmy, and that's right back at you as well. Like, you're doing such a great thing, and it makes us feel less lonely when we're in sobriety listening to these podcasts. So thank you. You're doing a great job.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. Thank you, Ash. Thank you so much, Ash. Yeah, another great episode. Just great getting to know Ash and hearing her story, and just kind of learning about I suppose someone that's quite a bit younger than me and how they've decided to kind of stop drinking. Ashley had that kind of really last kind of blowout, almost getting into a fight with her friend, and then not really knowing what she'd done, and then a couple of weeks later, a month later, doing a similar mad binge drinking night, and just having that last hangover, and just going out for dinner with her friends and just thinking, I am done. I am absolutely done with this. And that was her day one. And, sometimes it can be that simple that you've just had enough of it. And, luckily Ash recognized that at an early age. I was probably in a similar boat when I was 34 and just drinking and drinking and drinking and having some serious hangovers, but I never had the foresight that Ash had to kind of go, nah, I've had enough. I know, she was a young mum, and she said, she wants to have a life without it, and see what's possible without the alcohol holding her back, and being present and there for her child and her husband, and that's really what it's all about, and enjoying your life and not being held back by this absolute fucking poison. So yeah, so thanks, Ash, for coming on and telling us your story and sharing it. We do appreciate it. And, I know a lot of people get a lot from this, and hopefully a lot of younger people will listen to Ash's story and go, you know what, I need to make a difference as well. I need to be getting on in life. Younger people I think they're a lot more kind of, maybe not more driven, but they seem to be very much, they want to be out there making a change. They want to be entrepreneurs and doing all these different things. They don't just want to work for the man. So stop drinking and you'll be able to do 10 times more, 100 times more than what you would be if you were drinking. So make a change, do it. Yeah, all going well this side of the fence, guys. So yeah, thank you for amazing kind of just response from the new season. Really loving it. I have moved over to a hosting platform called Buzzsprout, and I always try and comment or reply to people that have put comments and messages on, Spotify or Apple or whatever. But with Buzzsprout, they have a thing called fan mail. So I don't know if you've noticed, but in the description of the podcast, there's a little thing going, text me or text us or send us a text. And I had one of them last week, and I messaged Buzzsprout and I said, well, how do I get back to this person? Because all it's got is like 4 digits of the last of their number and where they're from or whatever they put at the bottom of the message. It was a really lovely message. It was to me and Alicia, the episode that was out last week. And, I just want to say thank you to the person. When Buzzsprout said back, they said, you need to mention them on your podcast if you want to get back to them. So that's what I'm doing. So thank you to whoever it was that sent us a lovely message, it just said Ireland at the bottom of it. So you know who you are if you're listening then. So thank you very much for the messages. And yeah, other people send in and you'll get a message on the on the podcast, you know, because that's the only way I can reply to those fan mail messages. So thank you. Yeah, as I say, the response has been brilliant for season 3, for my episode, for Alicia's, and hopefully now for Ash's episode. I've got so many more amazing guests to come, and I can't wait to start releasing them, which is what we're doing. It's just one of those things. When I first started doing this last year, I think I maybe released 3 the first week, and then 2 because I had them in the can. But I didn't have that kind of. I just wanted to get them out, so I am being good and controlled and patient. And you're only going to get 1 a week, but that's how it's going to be, guys. So yeah, I'm nearly finished recording for season 3. So but this will take us up to summer, and then I'll be looking for guests for season 4. So if you do have a really kind of poignant story and you do want to get across, then please message me and tell me your story, and we'll see about getting you on for season 4, which is crazy. I can't believe it's we're talking about season 4 now. We've only just started season 3, so I will hold my tongue. And but as I say, if anyone wants to kind of come on the podcast, then I'll listen to your story and and see if it's what the people want. But yeah, thank you so much, people. Please comment, message, do whatever. Hit the 5-star review. Share the episodes. Share it, whether it's Spotify, Apple, Audible, wherever you're listening to, Amazon. Or watching it on YouTube. If people have been watching it on Spotify, it's another admin thing I need to take care of. If people have been watching on Spotify, I cannot upload to Spotify anymore because it then, once I start uploading the video, it then takes the ownership of that back, and I don't want to do that. So on Spotify, it's just going to be audio. But on YouTube, you can watch the videos. So all the videos are now on YouTube exclusively, until maybe Buzzsprout or Apple or whatever start doing videos. So purely on YouTube, but please subscribe on YouTube and you can watch videos there. So apologies if you have been watching Spotify, as I know the numbers were getting quite big on the video side of that. So apologies, but just pop on over to YouTube and you'll be able to watch them over there. But any questions anyone ever has or anything about the podcast, please just write in. Let me know what your thoughts are, what you're doing. Share the episodes, please, guys. Share them, because I know they're helping lots of people. And if you know that somebody is struggling and could do and benefit from listening to the episodes, so just please share it. But yeah, until next week, guys, stay safe, stay supportive, and stay sober. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye. Peace.